What's up guys, it's Josh back with another video and welcome to the KeepItTechie channel where we're all about teaching Linux and helping folks break into the tech field. And today I'm super excited to dive into something a little bit different but oh so important, and that's the latest version of Tails Linux, and that's version 6.6. Now if you're all about security, privacy, or just want to keep your online activities under the radar, Tails is the distro you need to know about. Now, it's been a couple years since I last covered Tails on my channel, so I'm pumped to explore what's new in this release. So let's get into it. All right, so I'm at tails.net, and of course I'll have the link down in the description of the video. But if we click under news, you'll see the latest release of Tails, the article for it or the post for it. And as you can see, the post was put out on the 13th, which was about 2 days ago when they did the release. And we'll walk through a couple of the changes that they made right fast. But for those of you who might be new to Tails, it's a live operating system that you can boot from a USB stick or a DVD. Now, it's designed with privacy in mind, making sure all your internet connections go through the Tor network and leaving no trace on the computer you're using. And this version 6.6 just dropped, like I said, 2 days ago, and it's packed with a whole bunch of updates, and I want to go through them all right fast. But one of the biggest changes is the update to the Tor browser, which is now at version 13.5.2. And this is crucial because Tor is your main gateway to the internet on Tails, and staying up to date with the latest security patches is a must. And they've also updated Thunderbird to 115.14.0, which is great for those of you who need a secure and anonymous email client. But check this out, that's not all. Tails 6.6 also includes updates to a bunch of firmware packages. And this might sound a bit under the hood, but it's actually super important. And these updates improve support for newer hardware. So if you got a brand new laptop or a Wi-Fi cord, Tails is more likely to work smoothly out of the box. Before we move forward, I wanted to give a quick shout out to CIQ, the official partner of Rocky Linux. Rocky Linux is a Linux distribution that is intended to be a downstream complete binary compatible release using the Red Hat Enterprise Linux operating system source code. The project is led by Gregory Kurtzer, who was the founder of the CentOS project. So check out Rocky Linux at ciq.co. Now, there's also been some work on error detection and reporting, especially when it comes to resizing the system partitions on your USB stick. The devs have improved how these errors are detected and reported, so you'll know right away if something goes wrong. Now, speaking of the persistent storage, it has gotten some love in this release as well, and they've increased the maximum waiting size when unlocking persistent storage to 4 minutes before returning an error. And this gives the system more time to handle the unlocking process, reducing the chances of things going south. And if you're someone who uses additional software, you'll be happy to know that they fixed the bug that was causing crashes when installing virtual packages. Also, networking has some improvements, and this is with fixes to connecting to the Tor network using default bridges. And you guys will see that when we go through the setup. But you can also enable multiple network interfaces again. So yeah, this release is packed with a lot of updates. And if you're already using Tails, you'll definitely want to upgrade. And if you're new, well, you're in a treat with this solid release. Now, before we go to the setup, let's scroll back up and I want to show you guys how to get it right fast. If we go to install Tails, it breaks down how to install it based on the operating system you're currently using. So let's say you got a Windows system, it walks through that process, Mac OS, Linux. We're only concerned about Linux over here on the KeepItTechie channel, so that's what I click on. But you can also use a terminal using the DD command, and you can get it installed that way as well. But let's click on Linux right fast. I just want to show you guys the steps. It's basically 5 steps that you have to follow. Basically, download Tails, the USB image, and then verify your download with the PGP key. Install Tails using known disk, and then restore it on your Tails USB stick. And then you can boot up to Tails. And here are the minimum requirements. Your USB stick has to be 8 gigabits minimum. And then Linux, any distribution, you need 2 gigabits of RAM, so 64-bit operating system as well. And then smartphone, or 1 hour in total. It says 1.5 gigabytes to download, half an hour to install. But it doesn't even take that long. So we can click right here where it says latest version. And if you scroll down to the bottom, there is for DVDs or virtual machines, this is the ISO image. You just download the ISO image if you're using it in like Proxmox like I'm using, or any other hypervisor. You could download this ISO image and boot up into the operating system. I already have it downloaded on my virtual machine. It's uploaded to my Proxmox server, so we can hop over there. All right, so we booted up in the live ISO. And I'm going to assume that you have it installed on a USB or copied over to your USB. When I go through this setup, this will actually pop up, and like I said, Tails is running in memory, but you got normal options just like setting up any other distribution of Linux. You got your language settings, keyboard layout, formatting. Now, if you're using USB stick, this is the only way this will work, the persistent storage. You can create it. I'm gonna just click it. Just so you guys know, that's what you need to do in order to create it. And once it sets up the desktop, or bring up the desktop, once this setup is complete, then it'll open up the persistent storage and it'll allow you to set up persistent storage on your USB drive. So I'm just clicking it. It's going to fail for me, but I wanted to at least show you guys what to do in order to create persistent storage. Now, if we click here, we do have additional settings that we can set up on the system. So let's say you want to set up an administration password. It's off by default, but you can set that up. MAC address anonymizer is on by default. And so what it'll do is anonymize that hardware MAC address for your network cord on the system, so people can't track it down to you or your physical hardware. Now you have an offline mode. It's and that's off by default. You know, you want to enable networking so you can connect and run everything through Tor. And you can also enable unsafe browser, which is included with the operating system. And I'll leave it on so you guys can see the unsafe browser, but that's just a way to get to the internet using a normal browser. And then network connection says obsolete. Now I'm gonna hit cancel here, and then all we have to do is start Tails. And so let's just hit start Tails. And like I said, it'll kind of set up the system for you and log you into the operating system. Now, as you can see, it kind of detected that I'm using a virtual machine. So the persistent storage is not going to work. That's why I say it's going to fail for me. But persistent storage is a benefit if you're using that USB drive, because you can save some of your files, your configuration files, and all that good stuff within an encrypted persistent storage. And you need a password to log into it, obviously, because it's encrypted. And it gives you some examples right here, like your documents, your Wi-Fi passwords, your browser bookmarks. You know, all that good stuff is good when you have a persistent storage. That way, you're not starting from scratch each time you boot up Tails. Now, here's the error that I was talking about. It's going to pop up for my virtual machine, but it says, sorry, it is impossible to create persistent storage on this device. To be able to use Tails with persistent storage, please follow our instructions for installing Tails on a USB stick. Like I said, that's the way to get it set up properly. So let's hit cancel there. But the first thing that'll pop up once you got it set up is your connection to Tor. That's the only way you can connect to the internet. You know what I'm saying? Is if you're connected through Tor. And I'll walk you guys through the setup of this right fast. But if you click here under connect Tor automatically, that's the default. And then you can configure a Tor bridge. This is the default Tor bridge, or you make that selection later on. Now, you can hide my local network that I'm connecting to Tor. And this is a benefit to prevent people that are monitoring the network from seeing that you are connected through Tor. And let me hit connect to Tor so you guys can see, but you only have two options under here. You can ask for a Tor bridge by email, and you have to scan a QR code and all that good stuff. And then also you can enter a bridge that you already know. And this is another benefit of having persistent storage. That way you can save your bridge connection settings within that storage. So we're not going to go through this process right here to configure the Tor bridge this way. We're going to go back and connect to Tor automatically, hit connect to Tor, and it opens up this option up here at the top, which is use a default bridge. So that's just a simple way of getting it set up. It's best to most likely use a bridge. You know, you can set one up or ask for one, or if you already know one, then you can set it up. So let's go down and hit connect to Tor, and it'll go through the full connection process of Tor, setting up the default bridges and all that good stuff. And then your operating system will be running everything via the internet via Tor. So as you can see right there, it says connected to Tor successfully with bridges. Now you can view your Tor circuits by clicking that button there. That'll bring it up for you. You can also go back into this to see your settings. I'm gonna hit start Tor Browser. I want to show you guys that we are using Tor, and you can verify that by opening up the Tor browser. And the default page it's gonna pull up is tails.net. And I'll show you guys this right fast, but right on the main page that it pulls up, you can check that you're using Tor. So there's a Tor checker here, so you just click there and then wait for it to load. But as you can see, we are connected to Tor. It says congratulations, this browser is configured to use Tor. Your IP address appears to be this address. So yours will show different obviously, but just showing you guys that that's the IP address that it appears to be when I'm on the internet via Tor. Now we can go down and close that. I want to just walk through a few of the applications on here just to show you guys. It's basically a normal Linux desktop environment using GNOME. It's based on Debian. You can check out your Tor connections here. That'll open up that same page we just had open, but this will open up the Tor browser directly. They have the persistent storage, so you can open up that persistent storage window again strictly from here. So you don't have to do it during the setup. You can do it after the fact, but like I said, it won't work on my virtual machine, so not tripping about it. But you got your documentation, you got your whisper back error reporting that'll send back, errors and all that stuff, so the devs can improve upon the operating system, and it's all anonymous. Then you got your Tails cloner that'll allow you to set up another Tails instance for you and all that good stuff. And then, like I said, we got that updated version of Thunderbird, so we're good to go there. And one cool thing to see is KeePass. I always talk about KeePass XC to store all your passwords, and then the rest of your passwords are stored in a database. And like I said, you need persistence for this, but the database is encrypted, and you have to unlock that database in order to see all your passwords for all your different accounts. Now, a few other applications, Cleopatra files. You got GIMP, so GNU image manipulation program. You got an image viewer, Inkscape, Libre, Office. So you got Draw, you got Writer, you got Calc, and I'm sure that's under the Office tab. But under Internet, I wanted to show you guys a couple of things here. So you can open up your Onion circuits like we did from that other page, and then you got Electron, Bitcoin wallet. So that's good to see there as well. But one thing that I really wanted to point out, and they've had this in this distro for a while, is Onion Share. This allows you to anonymously share files, pictures, whatever you want to share via Tor. It basically spins up a temporary Tor website. You just send that website to whoever you want to, preferably encrypted, so people don't know who it's actually coming from. And then they can download whatever files that you put up there on Onion Share. And they're essentially connecting to your computer. Now, one other thing, you got Pigeon for your chat, Thunderbird again, Tor browser, Tor connection, unsafe browser. This is what I was talking about. You can connect to the internet using a unsafe browser. And there you go. It'll show up red. This browser is not anonymous. So you do have unsafe browser if you need it for whatever reason. Now, and it shuts it down every single time, which is super cool. That way the system is secure. Now, if we go into Office, we got all our Office tools, sound, video. If we go into there, we got Audacity, Brazario. You got a video player, sound juicer. System tools, you got Synaptic Package Manager. Now, I don't know if you guys remember doing the setup. I was saying that the administrator account doesn't have a password set up on it, right? So if you try to open up Synaptic Package Manager, there's no password set for the administrator account. So you can't log in or can't authenticate in order to open up Synaptic Package Manager. So I'm gonna just cancel that, but that's one of the only reasons you may want to set an administrator password, just showing you guys. But back on the system tools, if you go into here, you got your settings. So this is, normal GNOME settings. You can go through, change the appearance, make it look a certain way. But like I said, none of this is persistent. All your configs or changes, whatever you make on the system, it's not going to stay that way unless you have a persistent drive and you store these configurations and all that stuff within that persistent storage. So let's go ahead and close that, but it'll be like a new operating system every single time you open up the application. So let's go under Let's see, back under system tools, you have additional software. You can click on that. If we go back under system tools, you do have backup of your persistent storage. So if you do have persistent storage set up, you can back it up. You got your power statistics, root terminal, Tails cloner. So that allows you to clone the copy of Tails that you have. Now if we go into utilities, archive manager, calculator, document scanner, document viewer, system monitor. Let's click on that so you can check that out as well. But let's open up the terminal. I like about this distro, and it's been like this for a while, but it says amnesia at amnesia. So that lets you know that it doesn't store anything. You know, it's not persistent. It's not persistence. So let's run a quick uname and then -a just to show you guys the Linux kernel that it has. It has 6.1.0-23 AMD 64, and then also, like I said earlier, I believe it's based on Debian. So just letting you guys know that if you want to get that information. And here is the system monitor, so you can check out resources, you know, all that good stuff. The file system, if you have persistence set up, you'll see your drives in there and all that. Now, one other cool tool I wanted to show you guys, and that's under utilities, is the VeraCrypt volumes. So you can unlock your VeraCrypt volumes. So just wanted to show you guys that, or at least point that out. But the rest of the operating system is pretty much the same like any other Linux distro with GNOME installed on it. You can go up under here, you got your snapshot or screenshot. You can get into your settings. You got your wired settings right there, which that's under settings anyway. You can just click the wheel right here. That'll open up your wireless connection or wired connection settings. You got dark mode, lock screen, suspend, restore, power off, all that good stuff. Now, one other cool thing, if you click here, this will open up your circuits as well. So that onion right there, that lets you know that you are connected through Tor as well. And if that's not looking like this, then you're not connected to Tor. It'll have like a line through it if it's not connected through Tor, just so you guys know. Now, let's talk about some real world use cases for Tails. And I know that security and privacy can sometimes feel like a buzzword, but with Tails, they're the real deal. Now, imagine you're a journalist working in a country where the government monitors online activity and you need to communicate securely, or let's say research a sensitive topic, and you want to keep your work off the radar. Tails is perfect for this because it routes all your internet traffic through Tor, making it super hard for anyone to trace your activities back to you. Plus, when you're done, there's no trace left on the computer that you're using. Tails just runs in memory. So when you shut it down, it's like you were never on the system. And if you guys remember the whole Edward Snowden debacle, this is the operating system that he was using, and he fully endorses it as an operating system that's safe and anonymous. Now, like I said earlier in the video, let's say you're just a regular person as well who values your privacy. Tails can be a powerful tool for that. So whether you're researching, I don't know, a personal topic, or you want to make like anonymous post online, or let's say you just don't want to leave a trace of your activities, then Tails is that operating system for you. And the fact that it's so easy to use and can run on almost any computer makes it accessible to anyone who wants to take control of their digital footprint. All right, guys, that wraps up my deep dive into Tails 6. So whether you're a seasoned Tails user or just hearing about it for the first time, I hope this video has given you a solid overview of what this powerful distro can do. Now, remember, privacy and security are not just for the professionals, and Tails makes it easy to take those first steps towards protecting your online life. Now, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future Linux tutorials or tech tips. And as always, if you have any questions or want to share your experience with Tails, drop a comment down below. I love to hear from you. But thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. And of course, keep it tech. Whenever I talk to people, whenever I mentor people dealing with, getting into tech, you got to figure out what you like or what you're interested in. Because yeah, a lot of people get into the, tech field because you can make a good amount of money. The money is the motivator. But you also, in my opinion, in order for you to be happy, you got to like what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And so, like for me, a lot of times it doesn't feel like work, bro. Most times it really doesn't feel like work. Yeah, I'm doing something fun. I'm doing something I love to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's what makes it, great for me.